First, let's look at the anatomy of the triceps. The triceps refer to a single muscle known as the triceps brachii. This is a single muscle, but it has three separate divisions. We have the medial head, which is situated underneath the other heads, the lateral head located on the outer region of the arm, and the long head located on the inner side of the arm. The medial and lateral heads have very similar attachment sites. They both insert on the ulna, which is one of the bones of the forearm, and they both originate from the humerus, which is the upper arm bone. The long head is slightly different in its anatomical structure compared with the other divisions. It also inserts on the ulna like the other two heads, but it originates from the scapula or shoulder blade instead of the humerus, which is an important distinction impacting its functions. Next, let's move on to the functions of the triceps. The triceps have one primary function, and that is elbow extension. This is the movement of straightening the elbow from a flexed position. All three heads of the triceps contribute to this movement since they all act on the elbow joint. The triceps also have a secondary function, and that is shoulder extension. This is the movement of bringing the shoulder down in front of the body from an overhead position. Only the long head of the triceps contributes to shoulder extension since it is the only division which acts on the shoulder joint. Because the long head of the triceps acts on both the elbow and shoulder joints, a relevant functional consideration for the triceps is the biarticular muscle theory. This theory suggests that a muscle won't maximally contribute to a movement when two opposing actions are demanded of it. In this case, the long head of the triceps is both an elbow extensor as well as a shoulder extensor. So for exercises where this division shortens at one joint but lengthens at the other, it may not be maximally trained. This is relevant during pressing movements where we have simultaneous elbow extension and shoulder flexion. In this case, the long head shortens at the elbow joint but lengthens at the shoulder joint. This means it likely won't be maximally trained during such movements. Although this concept is only applicable to the long head of the triceps because it is the only division which acts on the shoulder joint. The other two heads aren't influenced by shoulder movement since they only act on the elbow joint. We will discuss the practical implications for this later in the video. Now that we have explored the anatomy and functions of the triceps, let's discuss some effective exercises for training the triceps. The primary exercise category which will train the triceps are isolated elbow extension movements. This refers to any exercise which only involves or primarily involves elbow extension against resistance with no other main joint movements. Some examples include cable pushdowns, overhead extensions, kickbacks, skull crushes, and so on. These exercises will pretty much isolate the triceps with no other prime movers involved. All three divisions of the triceps will be involved since they all perform elbow extension. And some other smaller forearm muscles will also contribute to elbow extension too. And the other category of exercises which will train the triceps are any pressing exercises. This refers to exercises which involve elbow extension in addition to shoulder flexion. Some examples include the bench press, overhead press, chest press machine, and dips. These exercises will primarily train the chest and/or anterior delts, depending on whether it is a horizontal or vertical press, as well as the medial and lateral heads of the triceps. The long head will still be trained, but probably not to the same magnitude as the other two divisions due to the biarticular muscle theory as discussed. Next, let's move on to some setup and technique considerations to help us maximize triceps hypertrophy. Here are a few considerations I think are worth discussing. The first is regarding the width of our grip during pressing exercises. While pressing exercises will train the chest, front delts, and triceps, we can bias each muscle by modifying our grip width. In most cases, a narrower grip seems to bias the triceps a little more, while a wider grip seems to bias the chest a little more. For example, this study compared muscle activity between narrow versus wide grip bench pressing. 20 men with an average of around 5 years of resistance training experience performed 8 reps of the bench press with 60% of their 1 rep max with both a narrow and wide grip. It was found that triceps activity was greater during the narrow grip bench press. whereas pec muscle activity, at least the middle and lower regions, saw greater activity during the wide grip bench press. So if you want to maximize triceps involvement during pressing exercises, a narrow grip is recommended. For example, a narrow grip bench press can be used to primarily target the triceps, whereas a slightly wider grip is recommended if you want to bias the chest during pressing exercises. For example, a moderate or wide grip bench press can be used to primarily train the chest. On a similar note, the second technique consideration to discuss is for dips. Based on indirect mechanisms, it seems that we can slightly adjust our technique to put a little more emphasis on either the chest or triceps. To maximize triceps development, we may want to perform dips with more of an upright torso position. This will increase the range of motion the triceps are taken through by increasing the amount of elbow flexion achieved, whereas performing dips with more of a forward lean is likely to increase demands on the chest. This turns the movement into more of a decline bench press, where the lower pec fibers are in an advantageous position to contribute to the movement. So depending on the purpose of performing dips in our training program, we can change our technique slightly to increase the emphasis on either the chest or triceps. However, it should be noted that this is all based on general knowledge of lifting mechanics and functional anatomy. I am not aware of any direct evidence investigating this topic, so it is unclear at this stage how much magnitude of difference these technique changes would make on long-term muscle growth. And the last setup consideration worth mentioning is for the cable and torso position during various cable tricep movements. Essentially, the height we set up our cable and the angle of our torso can determine how much range of motion the triceps are trained through. Ideally, we want the cable to pull parallel to our upper arm so that it pulls our elbow into maximum flexion. For example, with cable pushdowns, we may need to lean forward a little so that the cable pulls in the same direction as our upper arm. If we were to stand upright, our range of motion would stop short of full elbow flexion. Similarly, overhead extensions can be adjusted in the same way. In this case, we can set up the cable at different heights, but we need to accommodate this by changing our torso angle. If the cable is set higher up, we need to lean forward more. If the cable is set up lower, we can stand more upright. There isn't really a right or wrong way to achieve this, but rather you can do whatever feels most comfortable and easiest to set up. I personally prefer setting up the cable around hip height than using a moderate forward lean in order to get the ideal line of pull. What we ideally don't want to do is perform overhead extensions in a way where the cable pulls in a different direction. For example, if we set up the cable in a high position and didn't lean forward. This setup will still train the triceps, but it just won't take them through the same range of motion and will likely be a little inferior for triceps growth. Next, let's move on to some programming considerations that are unique to triceps training. Here are two key considerations I think are worth discussing for triceps training. The first is taking into consideration the indirect training the triceps get from other exercises. Most notably, the triceps will be trained to some extent during pressing exercises. So if we perform pressing exercises for our chest and shoulder training, the triceps will be worked to some extent, even if they aren't the target muscle being trained. But the question is, how much will our triceps grow from indirect training? This was investigated in this study, which compared the effects of performing bench press versus isolated triceps training on chest and triceps hypertrophy. 43 untrained men performed either the bench press or skull crushers 2 times per week for 10 weeks. It was found that, as expected, subjects saw significant increases in cross-sectional area of the pec major in the bench press group, but not in the skull crushers group. The triceps saw some growth in both groups, but greater growth after the isolated triceps training. So the triceps probably won't be maximally trained during general pressing movements. As a general rule, I would recommend counting each set of pressing as contributing half a set to triceps training. For example, 2 sets of a bench press would be roughly equivalent to 1 set of isolated triceps training. However, this rule assumes that the pressing exercise is being performed to primarily target another muscle group like the chest or shoulders. In the event that you are trying to bias the triceps with the pressing exercise, then it may be the primary muscle trained and would be considered as a full set. This might include exercises like narrow grip dips or a close grip bench press. And the other programming consideration worth discussing is the use of shortened versus lengthened biased triceps exercises. While any exercise involving isolated elbow extension will train the triceps, we can train them in a more lengthened or shortened position based on the exercises we select. This will be influenced by the position of our shoulder. Since the long head of the triceps crosses the shoulder joint, the position of our shoulder can influence how much this division of the triceps is lengthened. More specifically, when our arm is up, the long head of the triceps is more lengthened, and when our arm is down, the long head is more shortened. So tricep exercises which involve our arm being overhead, such as overhead cable extensions, will train the long head in a more lengthened position. Whereas tricep exercises which involve our arm being by our side or behind our body, such as cable pushdowns, will train the long head in a more shortened position. And generally speaking, training a muscle in a more stretched position is typically favorable for muscle growth when all other factors are equated. And the triceps don't seem to be an exception to this, with lengthened bias training seemingly being slightly favorable for growth of the triceps long head. This was seen in this study, which compared the effects of training the triceps in a more lengthened versus shortened position. 21 untrained men and women performed overhead cable extensions with one arm and cable pushdowns with the other arm 2 times per week for 12 weeks. It was found that overall muscle volume of the triceps increased in both arms, with slightly favorable growth seen from the overhead extensions. And this additional growth was mainly observed in the triceps long head rather than the lateral and medial heads. It should also be noted, however, that this concept is only really applicable to the long head of the triceps, because it is the only division which is influenced by shoulder position. The other 2 heads only act on the elbow joint, so our shoulder position doesn't change the length of these divisions. In terms of the practical applications of this, I think it is worth including some sort of lengthened focus training for the triceps to maximize their growth. Some sort of overhead extension or skull crusher movement will take the long head of the triceps into a greater stretch, which can be highly effective for targeting the long head. The other divisions may not need as much specific attention because they will be maximally involved during all tricep exercises and even trained quite well via pressing exercises. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you got something out of this video. Check out flowhighperformance.com for online coaching, training templates, ebooks, and more.